Pellet rifle rivals firearm. We're going to do it today. We're going to rival it. We're going to completely rival it. And what I got for my pellet gun is my Hatsan Mod 130 QE and 30 caliber. Big old powerful pellet gun. Look at the size of that muzzle hole there. That's a big powerful gun. Here's our big pellets here, our 30 caliber pellets. These are no joke. These are giant. We look at it compared to a 22, and that's what I'm going to test it against today. You know, our pellets are pretty darn big here. So what I'm going to do in this test is I'm going to shoot these pellets in this rifle, and these are 44.75 grains. They're a little bit lighter than my last test. And if we cannot rival this 22 short here, I'm going to run some diesel pellets. And by the way, I didn't mention this in the last video I did with this, but dieseling can ruin your air gun. It can kind of break the seals. It puts a lot of pressure back on the piston in it. So it's going to void your warranty or anything like that if you break it. So that's the risk you know you have to be aware of. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this against our Rough Rider 22 long rifle revolver here. It's got a 4 and 3/4 inch barrel. I'm going to use 22 short ammunition. And if you didn't know, 22 short is actually the first handgun cartridge ever created. So it's a legitimate handgun cartridge. It's a legitimate firearm cartridge. So we're going to see if we can rival it with an air gun. So we're going to go through the chronograph. We're going to see what kind of velocity we get. That'll verify our energy, see what kind of accuracy we get at the same time. And then we're going to go through our ballistics gel block. You know, most people know this is almost like a perfect representation of a human analog, the average tissue density and stuff like that. And typically, you know, when we talk about like handgun ammunition, you know, like an FBI protocols, we get anywhere between 12 and 18 inches. My guess is you want to be at about 8 inches. That makes a lot of sense just based on the mathematical equations of this. I'm not going to go into detail, but, you know, we want to get about 8 inches in there to see if it's lethal. And then we're also going to shoot from 25 yards. A lot of people like to comment and say that I'm shooting for 2 yards or 5 feet or something because I do picture in picture, but no, I shoot at 25 yards at a 10-inch steel gong because, you know, mostly I do concealed carry stuff, and the whole point of that is to have a target that's only this big at about the maximum distance you would encounter a self-defense situation in current times. You know, if you put the pieces together, you know what I'm saying. So let's get started with this test and see if that pellet rifle can rival a firearm. All right, first up we have our 22 short. Let's see what kind of power we're getting out of this. 936, 958, 930, 876, 1046. Wow. 912. So that one was a little bit questionable there. All right, first up, non-diesel. We're just going to have our 44 and 44.75 caliber pellets. No dieseling. Let's see what kind of velocity we get. Yeah, that's not reading, but that's definitely a bigger hole through that paper. 545. 522. 541. 534. Not too bad. Let's run our diesel pellets and see if that gives us an increase. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but to diesel this, I just filled the backs of pellets with petroleum jelly. Just enough to fill that. Carefully load it in here, and we'll see if we get an increase over that 534 we got on the screen. 694, 745, 721, 700. So overall, there's definitely an increase. We're increasing about 150 feet per second or more. So that's a definite increase. So I'm going to hit our ballistics gel block here with the 22 first and then with the air gun, but I am going to fire some non-diesel pellets through this first to kind of clear out the rest of the stuff that's in there, and then we'll hit our gel block. All right, there's no denim on this gel block because these are both round-nosed bullets, so we're not trying to clog a hollow point for, you know, an official FBI test. So let's see what the 22 does. All right, so what we can see here is our damage path is at about 15 to 15 and a quarter. The nose of our bullet here is at about 14 and a half. So this is definitely within the FBI protocol for our penetration. We have a lot of damage right here. Bullet probably tumbled, I can't really tell, but that looks like what would happen if it were to tumble, we would get a lot of damage right in there. So let's hit this with our pellet gun and see how that compares. All right, first up we have our non-diesel pellet. We'll see how this does. So here we are, our nose of our pellet is at about 5 3/4, but the damage path before it kicked itself back was at like 7 7/8. So does that meet what I thought it should meet to be lethal? And that answer is no, it doesn't. So let's hit it with a diesel pellet and see if that makes any difference at all. All right, diesel pellet. Let's see how this does. So we can definitely see something's going on here that's extraordinarily different. Not only is it much deeper, our bullet nose is at about 11 1/4. Our full damage path is over 13 inches. That actually meets the FBI protocol for minimum penetration, to be lethal, to be an effective round. So that is quite astonishing that we're hitting that level of performance. Now, we definitely don't have the damage that the 22 had from tumbling, but that is very straight path right through there. That's pretty interesting. It was very efficient to just cut straight through with penetration. That's probably because the nose is heavy and the base is hollow. Zoom right through that. That is very impressive. Very, very impressive. So let's shoot from 25 yards and see how these two compare to each other. All right, 22 short from 25 yards. See if I make any hits on that 10-inch steel plate there. I had pretty good sight picture and hold on that gun, so not great accuracy. It might not be the ammo, might still be me or my gun, but that's all I can do with this. So let's see what we can get with that pellet gun. I'm just gonna have to experiment here. I'm gonna hold down low below it like 6 inches. Well, there we go. That thing hits hard. It hits really hard. All right, everybody's gonna want to see this thing diesel to hit that plate, so let's try that anyways. All right, diesel pellet. Let's see what this does. I'll aim at the same spot. Wow. I can hear fragments of that pellet going around. So what we're seeing here, this is just really astonishing that we have so much potential at the velocity that we had getting up there to 700 feet per second plus. It is a massive difference between, 550. Now, does it rival that 22? Yeah, it rivaled that 22 and that handgun, that 22 short. Absolutely rivaled. Now in the gel block, it looks like there's more tumbling damage with that 22. But overall, what we're seeing here is that this thing, because it's shooting a 44 grain pellet, not a 29 grain bullet, which that 22 is, it's got a lot of momentum. So once it hits that gel, it just keeps trucking right through that thing. And that would probably do that to a human analog testing, that I do if I had my baloney pack with fiber board. I know it would punch right through that, no problem, and still be considered lethal. So this is just really astonishing, the power we can get with the pellet gun. So pretty good performance overall. Does it rival it? Yeah. Does it beat it? Maybe in some respects. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.